The art of creating a dashboard is in determining which data to include and which to exclude. Excel lets you focus the data shown in a worksheet by creating different types of filters and also sorting your data. In this movie, I will show you how to create several different types of filters, sort your data, and finally, create the very useful top 10 filter. My sample file is 0104 filter, and you can find it in the Chapter 1 folder of the exercise files collection. I've started on sheet 1 of this workbook, and that has the Excel table that I used to create my pivot table. I don't normally use Excel tables in a dashboard simply because they take up too much space. However, if you want to include a filtered table, that could make sense. Let's see what that might look like. In my Excel table, I have monthly sales data for 3 different product categories. Let's say that I want to only see data for the olive oil category. To create that filter, I'll make sure that any cell within the pivot table is selected, and then click the filter arrow next to, in this case, the category column header. So I'll click there, and you see that I can sort, and I can also define a filter. In this case, I will filter so I only see olive oil. So I will clear the Select All checkbox, then check the olive oil box, click OK, and you can see that I am down to only olive oil within this particular table. I can create filters for other columns. So for example, if I go to quarter and click its filter arrow, I can select the quarter or quarters that I want. In this case, I'll clear Select All and just do quarter number 2, click OK. And you can see that I have my data for 2020 and 2021. And this is just about small enough to fit in a dashboard. When I'm done with the filters, I can press Ctrl-Z to undo them, which I just did to get rid of the filter for quarter. You can also go back to the filter arrow for a column that has a filter applied, click it, click Clear Filter From, whatever the name of the column is, and that will remove the filter for that column, and in this case, it was the last one. Now I'll switch over to my pivot table and show you how to create filters there. So I will switch to sheet 2, and here I have my data, again, summarized by year and by quarter, but I haven't broken it down by category. So let's say that I only want to see sales for quarters with $250,000 or more. To do that, I can click any cell in the pivot table, and then I want to filter by quarter. So I will go to the row labels header button and click its filter arrow. And at the top, because I have multiple fields in the rows area, I need to select my field. So instead of year, I'll click the down arrow and click quarter. And then I want to filter on the values in the sum of sales column or area. So I'll point to value filters and click greater than or equal to. Now I'm filtering by quarter, which you can see here in parentheses. Sum of sales greater than or equal to. So then in the value box, I'll type 250,000 and click OK. And when I do, I see that I have 2 quarters. Turns out it was quarter 4 in both 2020 and 2021 that meet that filter criteria. I'll go ahead and press Ctrl-Z to undo the filter. Now let's see what happens when I add month to the rows area. I will drag month to the rows area underneath quarter. And when I do, you see something very interesting happen. Instead of the month names being in chronological order, so for example, January, February, March, they are in alphabetical order. So for example, in quarter number 2, we have April, June, and May. So May and June are in alphabetical order, but are reversed. So the question is, if you run into this type of situation, how do you sort based on month name? To do that, you need to use a built-in custom list to create your sort. So I will click in cell A6, and then I'll go to row labels, click its filter arrow, and I do want to sort based on month, and I'll click more sort options. In the sort by month dialog box, I will select the descending A to Z by month option. Then I'll click more options and clear the sort automatically every time the report is updated checkbox. And now I can set my first key sort order. Currently it says no calculation, but if you click this list box's down arrow, you'll see that you have a number of built-in lists. And I'll click the third one, which is January, February, March, the 3-letter abbreviations. Click OK. Click OK again, and you can see that my data is now sorted appropriately. So you can have the 3-letter abbreviations for each of the months, or you can have the month names spelled out completely. Finally, I want to demonstrate how to create a top 10 filter. To make it easier to see more of the data, I will remove quarter by dragging it back to the field list. So let's say that I want to see the top 6 months of sales for 2020 and 2021. To create that filter, I will again go to the row labels header, click its filter arrow, and then I want to filter based on value. And then I'll click top 10. So I have top 10 filter by month based on sum of sales. I do want the top values. You can also do the bottom. And I will scroll down to see the top 6 items. You could also go by percent or sum. Click OK. And I have the top 6 for each of my 2 years. So I have 2020 and 2021. And if I only wanted to see sales for 2020, I could go back to the row labels header, click its filter arrow, and then change the field to year. And I'm interested in 2020, so I'll clear the 2021 checkbox, click OK. And I only have the values for 2020. I'm sure you can see how filters and sorting are important to you and the decision makers you support. Filtering your data effectively means that you can focus on exactly what's important.